Notes on the pictures. The pictures in this book spring from two sources. The large paintings are based on episodes at the end of The Lord of the Rings. The specific volume is referred to by its initials, in which the ring bearers ride westwards to the Great Havens, where they take ship for the Undying Lands. The narrative describes Frodo and Sam riding to meet a company including Bilbo, Elrond, Galadriel, and Gildor, as well as many other elves. The poem that forms the text of this book is Bilbo's. Like Elrond, he had indicated to Frodo that his thoughts were turning towards departure. It therefore seemed right to think of the beginning of that last journey of Bilbo's part in it. The first four large pictures are thus based on a sequence of events which we can only imagine, but which most logically have occurred. The smaller pictures running at the bottom of the pages show scenes from The Hobbit. Bilbo remembers his first journey as he leaves for Bag End and papers. None saw them pass, save the wild creatures. The picture shows the many elves of high kindred who accompany Elrond, Galadriel, Gildor, and Bilbo on their last journey through the autumnal countryside. Galadriel leads the procession, riding a white palfrey, followed by Gildor. Elrond rides behind Gildor and is partly masked by the tree in the center. Bilbo on his gray pony appears on the left-hand side in the foreground. There are several fleeting glimpses of Bilbo at Rivendell in his little room, as it was littered with papers and pens and pencils. A perfectly round door like a porthole painted green with a shiny yellow brass knob in the exact middle. All that the unsuspecting Bilbo saw that morning was an old man with a staff. Bilbo looking out of his window, thinking about making his last journey. The window opened onto their gardens and looked south across the ravine of the Bruin. Fellowship of the Ring, page 250. Gandalf sat at the head of the party with 13 dwarves all around. Bilbo sat on a stool at the fireside. After his unsuspected tea party, Bilbo slept late the following morning. In consequence, he didn't get the dwarves' letter until 10:30, and had 10 minutes to meet them at 11 o'clock at the Green Dragon Inn, Bywater. Bilbo could never remember how he found himself outside, running as fast as his furry feet could carry him. The Hobbit, page 33. It was just as Frodo and the other hobbits left Rivendell to return to the Shire on the 5th of October, 3019, Shire reckoning 1419, that Elrond said, "About this time of year, when the leaves are gold before they fall, look for Bilbo in the woods in the Shire. I shall be with him." Return of the King, page 267. The first part of Bilbo's journey with the dwarves was merry, but once they had left the Shire, the weather turned cold and wet. They came across dreary hills rising higher and higher, dark with trees. On some of them were castles with an evil look, as if they had been built by wicked people. Dawn take you all, and be stoned to you. Hobbit, page 42. Tom, Bert, William, Bill Huggins, the trolls, had captured the dwarves of Bilbo. Gandalf tricked them into arguing all night about the best way to cook their prisoners until the sun rose and turned the trolls to stone. The trolls' cave, where the swords glamoring in the oak crest were discovered, and where Bilbo found the knife he later called Sting, was in the hill on the left. With them went many elves of the high kindred, who would no longer stay in Middle-earth. Return of the King, page 309. The company with Elrond when they rested at the last homely house for a while. The dwarves are, from the left, Ori, Greyhood, Dwalin, Dark Green Hood, Bifur, Yellow Hood, Gloin, White Hood, Balin, Red Hood, Beaufort, Yellow Hood at back, Pilly, Blue Hood, Fairhair, Bombear, Pale green hood, Killy, blue hood, fair hair, Thorin, Oakenshield, sky blue hood with a silver tassel key on the chain, brown neck. Oin, brown hood at the back, Dory and Nori, purple hoods. One day, they met a thunderstorm, more than a thunderstorm. Riding behind on a small gray pony was Bilbo himself. Return of the King, page 308. September 3021, Shire Reckoning 1421. Frodo and Sam halted and sat silent in the soft shadows until the travelers came towards them. Return of the King, page 308. Deep down here by the dark water lived old Gollum, Hobbit, page 667. It was the trees at the bottom that saved them, Hobbit, page 88. Dawn, 29th September, 3021, Shire Reckoning 1421. They came to the far downs and looked on the distant sea. Return of the King, page 310. Who are you? And what do you want? Hobbit, page 105. Bjorn, the skin changer, talks with Gandalf and Bilbo. His bees, bigger than hornets, and beehives are on the left, and his long, low wooden house. As they came to the gates, Círdan the shipwright came forth to greet them. Return of the King, page 310. Gandalf is behind Círdan, wearing the Ring of Fire. Narya the Great. The idea came to him to lead the furious spiders further and further away from the dwarves. Hobbit, page 138. Long and searchingly, he questioned the dwarves about their doings. Then Círdan led them to the havens, and there was a white ship lying. Return of the King, 310. Elrond, holding a silver harp, was standing behind the hobbits. First, he unlocked Balin's door. Bilbo found being invisible enabled him to track down the cells in which each dwarf was imprisoned. He was visible when he rescued them. The dwarves had to see who he was and be able to follow him. He found it quite as difficult to stick on as he had feared. This picture is based on J.R.R. Tolkien's own color painting of the barrels floating down the forest river. Up rode Merry and Pippin in great haste. Gandalf had sent them a message, so that they could say farewell, and so that Sam should not have to go home on his own. They could see the lonely mountain, towering grim and tall before him. As Bilbo and the dwarves journeyed toward the lonely mountain, they stored some spare goods in a tent. The river running rose out of the mountain and flowed out through the front gate. Stand by the grey stone when the thrush knocks, and then the setting sun with the last night of Durance day will shine upon the keyhole. The dwarves' New Year's Day was the first day of the last moon of autumn on the threshold of winter. When the moon and the sun were in the sky together, it was called Durance Day. And the ship went out into the high sea. Bilbo, invisible because he was wearing the ring, steals a cup from Smaug's vast hoard. The dragon doesn't quite wake up. When Smaug attacked Asgaroth, he was fiercely resisted by archers, led by Bard. Smaug's fiery breath set light to the thatched roofs, and many people, including the master, tried to escape in boats. Bard was told by the thrush of the one place, a hollow patch on the left breast, where Smaug was not armored with jewels and gold embedded in his hide. J.R.R. Tolkien was born in 1892 in Bloemfontein, South Africa, but came to England with his mother at the age of 3.5. After serving in the First World War, he became distinguished professor of Anglo-Saxon and later of English language and literature at Oxford University. His first work of fiction, The Hobbit, was published in 1937. The Lord of the Rings, his masterpiece, took 12 years. The Lord of the Rings, his masterpiece, took 12 years to write and was originally published in 3 volumes. It is written in my life blood, such as that, thick or thin, I can do no other, said Tolkien. Pauline Baynes was born in Hove, Sussex in 1922, studied at Farnham School of Art, and later at the Slade. Her association with Tolkien began when he chose her to illustrate Farmer Gills of Ham, and she went on to illustrate several of his books, including The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, Smith of Wotton Major, and Tree and Leaf. Thank you, viewers, for your support.